Oh, hang on. I got to check my connection here. And we are live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and we are going live also on Instagram. So, Anthony, I'd like to give you an opportunity to ask any questions you may have.
Yeah, so I wanted to know if film and television rights were the same for performance.
Okay. Film and television rights, at the essence, is copyright law. Okay. At the very essence is the foundation is copyright law. So I would say yes, it's the same in all creative works. Copyright is the foundation. As far as other licensing issues that may differ from film and television, television has more licensing, whereas film, you may have licensing to make a spin-off, a derivative, or a sequel. Does that kind of answer your question? If you have any other, if you want any specific details, just let me know.
I'm sorry. Okay, yeah, because I'm working on a project to get the life rights. I mean, to get the performance rights, and they had it separate between film and television and performance versus I think theatrical or book rights or something like that. And I was wondering why it was separate. Why aren't they all clumped together? So when you sign a contract with the studio with your script, and they want to make it into a play, are those different sets of rights that they have to ask for, that they have to pay for?
They can be. They can group them together, or you can separate them. I would be more specific in your contract, okay? The contract controls. If you want to identify what exactly is a performance right, I would be very specific, okay? And then as someone who is giving the rights, you want to be more limited, whereas the person or the party receiving the rights wants to be more broad. All right, there's conflicting rights. They want more broad rights so that they can exploit the property more and also be at less risk for any assertion of infringement or using the property without permission. Now, as the creator, as the owner of the creative work, you want to limit your rights, because the rights, here is the formula that I'd like you to remember. Rights equals the power, and the power is the ability to monetize. The more rights you have, the more power. And the power is the ability to make money off of your product. Okay? So you want to, when you are giving rights away, you want to limit them. Whereas when you're receiving rights, you want more broader rights. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's some intellectual property concepts. Just the formula has always stuck out with me. Rights equals the power, and the power equals the ability to monetize. Make sense?
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, I just want to make sure that that's good. And all right.
Any other questions, Anthony?
That should be okay right now. Yeah, because I'm working on a movie. I'm working with this guy, manager. I still haven't signed with them, but I'm doing work. And I'm just trying to figure out, what's going on. I'm not doing anything for a client, it's for myself. Put a package together and to see where we can go with it. So I'm just trying to see what are my rights and what I should have in a contract and so forth and so on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think you're doing your due diligence. Keep signing on. Write your questions down during the week. Bring them to the group here, and I'm happy to answer. Intellectual property rights are driven by contract. Everything must be in writing, signed by the party to be charged against. Okay. So you got to have everything in writing, signed by the other party. And with IP rights, it's all contract based. Okay. So you have to keep your contracts, and that's your chain of title in order to support your position.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay.
All right.
Management contracts too is another ball game. Management manager agreements. I should probably explain the difference between agents, managers, and entertainment attorneys in your industry. Okay. Agents are licensed, they are regulated by the state. Okay. So they are the only party that can engage in the process of what they call procuring employment. Okay, that's the legal term, procuring employment. They must be licensed by the state. If they are working to find you work, they must be licensed by the state. And it goes back to traditionally because agents would take advantage of their clients, or they also must be regulated because of the locations that agents used to run back in the traditional times. They were a hotbed for illegal activities, to say the least. And that's why agents became regulated by the state. So they must be licensed in order to engage in the process of procuring you employment. And what does that exactly mean? It's quite vague. And it's a thin line between managers, agents, and also entertainment attorneys. Managers may be involved in the process of procuring you employment ancillary, okay? As long as they're working in conjunction with your agent. Otherwise, if managers are out there obtaining you deals, contracts, they could be said to be engaged in the process of procuring employment. And then you would have the right to possibly file a complaint and have them rescind all management fees that were paid to them, because it's basically an illegal arrangement, because they're engaging the process of employment. That's why managers must be very mindful of this, because they can lose out on their management fees. There's some really big cases out there with some rock bands. I forget the names, but they're pretty landmark decisions. And there's a lot of fees at stake for managers, especially when you get to that level. And a lot of times it's unfortunate, and I'm telling you this, that everything must be in writing, especially in your industry, because there's a practice of doing things with a handshake deal. And unfortunately, that may come back to bite you. All right. Or the manager may have to forfeit all their manager fees, which would be unfortunate. Okay. So difference between managers, agents, and entertainment attorneys. Agents are licensed by the state. They're regulated. Only they can procure employment. Managers are not licensed by the state. They're not regulated. They're based on business contract. Your arrangement with the manager is all based on contract. So you want the terms to be very spelled out. You want the percentages to be spelled out. And traditionally, they take anywhere from 10 to 30%, all right, depending on what their worth is and what they're going to do for you. And I would review the contract. It's very important to have that contract reviewed, because you want to watch out for some hidden fees in your manager agreement, possibly marketing fees or cost expense to be reimbursed. You want to carefully review that in your manager agreement. Attorneys, on the other hand, wear multiple hats. Okay. They are licensed by the state bar, and they are also regulated. Their state bar license basically encompasses everything an agent and a manager could do, although attorneys must also be mindful, because they could have fees rescinded based on procuring employment. It's a very thin line. But what is reviewing a contract? What if you get a deal and you want to bring it to the manager or their attorney to review a contract, that contract for that deal? Is that engaged in the process of procuring employment? Some jurisdictions may say it is. Others may say it's not. There is splits in jurisdictions. So if there is anything involved in the process of procuring you employment, I would like to be very specific on what the duties are, and you should protect yourself and just be clear. Be clear in your agreements, your chain of titles. Does that make sense to you?
Uh-huh.
When do you need each player? I would say the first priority would be to get an agent. As always, the priority is to get an agent. In your position as a screenwriter, it may be a some form of writer's rep, writer's manager, someone who would be submitting your scripts for review on your behalf. For producers, there's producers reps. For talent, there's managers. All right. So you could call the person representing you or the entity a writer's rep or a writer's manager. Okay. I would say priority is the agent, because you want jobs. All right. You want to have cash flow and income. So I would say priority is always to get an agent of some sort. Either that's a booking agent, a script submission agent. They go by different names, but they make sure they are licensed by the state in order to engage in the process of procuring you employment. So I would say the first player to get on your team would be an agent. Managers are optional, I would say. It's not necessary for you to have a manager. However, a manager, with the relationships they bring, may have value. So you have to do your due diligence, investigate the manager to see if it's a good fit. Okay, and those percentages range. They're not set by any collective bargaining agreement or by law. Whereas an agent, if you're a signatory to any of the guilds, they are capped at what percentage they can take. Managers are not capped. They have what we call freedom of contract. It's between you and the manager. So just know that those agreements between you and the manager, and also between you and the agent, are negotiable. Okay? So you can negotiate your deal with them. Managers have freedom to contract. They're not regulated. They have no cap. Whereas an agent, they have a cap if you're a signatory, if you're a member of any of the guilds. Attorneys, on the other hand, do not have their percentages capped. It's all negotiable, freedom of contract. They are regulated. Okay, they are bound by duties of ethics, and they can be disciplined by the state bar. So there is a regulatory body. When do you need an attorney? I always tell clients, when you're about to sign a contract in whatever industry, whenever you're about to sign a document, because that is when rights are being transferred. And whenever you are transferring legal rights, you should be fully informed. So you should have all your contracts reviewed by an attorney. Whenever you're about to put pen to paper or enter into a official relationship, you should consult with an attorney. Attorneys can charge fixed fees or a percentage if it's workable. For the most part, it's fixed fees, hourly, or retainer based. Managers and agents are usually typically percentage based. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Do you have any questions on the different roles of each of the players?
Yeah. No. I'm pretty much familiar. I've been around it for a while. I've been looking for representation for at least 2 years. So I think I have a strong understanding of what they are.
Okay. We do have a question from someone on IG Live regarding managers. And what is the standard percent for managers? I would say standard rate is 20%. Again, not regulated. What is the cap for agents? Depending on what is the collective bargaining agreement, if you are dealing with a member of SAG or the WGA, based on their collective bargaining agreement, they have set caps on what signatories to the collective bargaining agreement can charge. So the agent must be a signatory to the collective bargaining agreement. And if you're a union member, they do require you to work with signatories to the collective bargaining agreement. So make sure your agent is a signatory. 10 to 30% could be, depending on the contract. All right. And if the other party is a member of the unions, WGA and SAG. So if they're a member of SAG, for example, I believe the percentage is capped. I believe it's 10%, but you're going to want to reference the collective bargaining agreement, the schedule of guaranteed minimums. All right. Because that's what the collective bargaining agreement does. It sets the minimum standards for the parties. And it's there to protect the union members. That's why they have come together and unionized, so they could have strength in numbers to negotiate these type of percentages. Because historically, the union members, the writers, and the talent were exploited by the business people in the industries. And so that's what forced them to come together and fight for their rights. That is kind of the basis of union law, collective bargaining. Okay. Any other questions?
No, I got to go right now, but thank you, Justin. Hopefully I can catch you next week.
Absolutely. Please keep signing in every Monday, 9 a.m., Coffee with a Lawyer. I think it's a great time to connect, focus for the week, answer any legal issues that you may have. I'm happy to be of service. This is my way to stay connected so you guys can have access to quality legal services and also get to know our team. I also have my assistant on with us, Chelsea, if you can hear us. Let me see.
Take it easy.
All right. Thank you, Anthony. You have a good week. All right. Any other questions? We have a few people on IG Live. Let's see if anyone else is signed on. Yep, Cody, good to hear from you as well. Great way to stay connected. Every Monday, 9 a.m., feel free to log in. There is a link. I can send it to you directly to RSVP and you'll get notifications. Chelsea, do you have any questions?
No more questions for me regarding the topic.
All right. Thank you, Cody. Yeah, we're also on all the social media streams. We are on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, IG Live as well. So you can find us on all the platforms. If you have any questions, please feel free to type it into the chat. I do a wide range of law, from general business law to personal injury claims, civil litigations to transactions. So any questions you may have, I'm happy to be of service. We usually stay on for about 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah, let's see. We have how much is the percentage mostly from Aaron? I believe we addressed that. And yeah. All right. So let's see. We'll give it a few more moments. If anyone has a question, let's chime in, or I will adjourn for the week and we'll take care and take action, and we'll reconnect next week as well. These will also be published on our YouTube channel, so you can take a look at them afterwards. We do like to add chapters into them so people can scroll for resources. But if that's it for now, we will sign off. And it's good to see everyone. Some familiar faces, familiar names. And I'd like to wish everyone the best and end by saying take care and take action. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.